Well, hey guys, Captain Cook here. So glad you could join me. Today we're going to be talking about 3D printing and fishing, and how, I personally have brought these two things together to help me out. Now, back in the day, I have 6 3D printers. At a time, I'd have all 6 of these 3D printers running at one time. But, in printing, just all kinds of things. But today, I really use my 3D printers for things I can use. Things that, I can use for fishing is really what I use them for now. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at a couple things, just a few things that I've used my 3D printer to make the fishing easier for me. So we're going to go through a couple of slides here and take a look at a couple of things that I made and that I use. Some of them are my designs, and some of them are not my designs. But they're useful 3D prints that people put out there, and as well, anything I designed that I think that can be helpful for people, I put it out there for them. You can find a lot of stuff on Thingiverse, and there's just so many things out there. What I could tell you, if you want to find a 3D print, go to Things. It's THANGS.com, and what this site does, it looks at all the sites that have 3D models, and you punch in what you're looking for, and it'll bring it up. And it may be myminifactory.com, it may be at Thingiverse. There's no telling where it'll be. But I try to put, if I think it's going to help people, I try to put it out there so everybody can use it, So we're going to look at a couple of things I've made. Like I said, some I designed, some I didn't. So the first thing we're going to look at is this one right here. This is actually a lure. And you guys in the fishing know this red and this white. This is got a big lip on it. This is a deep diving lure. Of course, I didn't put any type. There's no hooks or anything in it. This is just raw. And this is something. This is not my design. This is a concept that somebody else did. But hey, they put it out there for you to use, and that's just one of the many things that you can do to help you, with your fishing. It really is. Now, this next thing I'm going to show you, this is something I did design. They work well. I put a lot of time and effort into this, but these are, so if you look on the left, you'll see the green float. On the right there is the orange float. And these are floats like you buy foam floats for your rigs, surf fishing, whatever you're doing. And these things work extremely well. These are hollow. They also have a channel in them where you can pass your line through, and they will float your bait. I can guarantee you that. I have tested these things. They work very well. The 3 smaller ones in the middle, there's a green, a red, and an orange. These are beads. So I no longer have to buy beads. I just 3D print my own bead. And they work well. I have fine-tuned them. They work very well. I do not have these out to where people can access them, but I will. But I don't have to buy beads anymore. If I want a green bead, I want a red bead, I want an orange bead, whatever color I choose to do, it'll work for me. If I want pink ones, I've got pink filament, I can print pink ones. So there's just so many options on colors and size. And this is a standard size bead. And the floats, that's a standard size float. So I look around, see what size, the industry is using. So I tried to more or less make mine that size. But these things work very well, very well. Now this next one coming up, it's not my design, but I'll tell you what, this thing is a lifesaver. This is a de-spooler. So it comes that time you got to take your old line off the reel. And however you used to do it, by hand. You can do a plastic bottle. This thing right here is, man, it is just great. And you can see on this end closest to us right here, that is a butterfly nut. And it's got a rod that passes through it. And on the other end, you just can see, well, a drill hook to that. And you take your line off your spool. Then you take that butterfly nut off, that end cap comes off, and you just slide it off and throw it in the trash. I found this thing, I printed this thing, and man, it is a lifesaver. It is great. I'm printing these things for several anglers I know. Just, man, it's great. Like I said, not my design, but this is a great design. And man, I am sure happy I found it. Now, the next thing coming up, I did design this. So, I use a GoPro when I'm out fishing. And with newer GoPros, you have to have an audio adapter. So this audio adapter in that box, you're seeing the one closest to it, the shorter one, this fits in there. And that box is open on one end, so this can slip through. Well, that fits in there. Now in the taller box, what fits in there is this, my microphone. This is my Purple Panda microphone. And as you can see, that I 3D printed that as well. And that slides down in there. You hook it to your chesty, plug it into this adapter, and it works really well. I have 3 versions of this. This one straps on. I have another version that straps on, a little different. Then I have one that actually has some clips on it where you can just fasten it right to your chesty. And they work good. They work really well, really well. So just something else, that there's nothing out there like this. I can't buy anything like this. So I had to actually design something that would work with this audio adapter and my microphone. Next, we're going to look at something I did. This is a whistle. So I kayak fish, right? So out on the water, you need a whistle. And this is a store-bought whistle. Nothing fancy, very loud though. So what I did is I printed these, and you can see that one says Cameraman Ron. I actually printed 4 of these for the clickbaiters, which is Cameraman Ron, Bearded Brad, Bama Beach Bum, and Angler Upward Brant. They all kayak fish now, and I was going to send them a whistle. Very loud. This thing is extremely loud. So not my design, but I did, put their names on it. So very loud. Works very well. So yeah, another thing, you don't have to spend money on it. You print your own. You feel better about it when you really print your own. So next thing we're going to look at, this is a reel holder. So I've got a lot of reels. I've got probably 40 plus reels, and I've got vintage reels that I won't ever use, and some I do. but I wanted some place and somehow I could mount them and keep them, you know, right there where I could see them, you know. And so what this is, I printed two versions. There's two types I use. This one is for my larger reels, my 8,000, 10,000 series reels, because another one, you'll be seeing it here shortly, just wouldn't work. So I printed this one. This is not my design. I did redo this one with larger mounting holes in it. And like I said, it's for my larger reels, and you will be seeing something similar that I have reels mounted on. Actually, they're above my head right now. So up next we have now this is just a piece of art. This is as you can see, this is a worm with a fish on one end, a fish on the other end, a fish swimming through the grass. This is just, you know, and it's actually sitting on top of the printer that I printed it on. This is an SLA printer. It prints with resin, and these things do fine detail. So this is just a piece of fishing art that I did, and turned out pretty good. I like it. Just got a primer coat. I hadn't really painted anything on it yet, but turned out well. Now next we're going to look at reese hitch covers. I made several of these. This is one I made. This is a fish with a hook in his mouth, and turned out good. The fish is not my design, but the actual receiver, you know, that goes into the hitch is my design. And I made several of these, and, you know, different things. I actually made one that looks like a claymore mine. It looks exactly like a claymore mine that says, if you guys know anything about claymore mines, it says toward enemy, you know, and that would face out towards you. And I go to a recycling center, and the guy that works there just loved that thing. And every time I go there, he'd ask me about it. So I gave it to him. But these are just, you know, some things that doesn't help my fishing any, but it looks good, right? So next we're going to look at something I made for my kayak. Now I fish out of my kayak. And what this is the front of my kayak, and it did not have a bungee system on the front. So I made this hook, and there's one on the other side, and I put a bungee system on my kayak. And works great. No complaints so far. But like I said, these are just some of the things you can do with it. You know, of course you can buy these, but it was a lot cheaper for me to just make it and 3D print it. So next we're going to look at something else I made. Now this is not my design, but I had to redesign it to make it fit my particular rod. Now if you look in the background, that rod that has the pink jig hanging on it, that's an ugly stick. And that ugly stick rod has a keeper, a hook keeper, whatever you want to call it, that you put your hook into, and it keeps everything there. Now the one in the foreground here, this particular rod is a Fib-Link Moon Sniper. Didn't come with one. And originally what I did, I put a zip tie with a split ring and just hooked everything into there. But I found this, actually had to resize it to fit this particular rod, and it snaps on, comes off, and as you can see, I have the swivel with the coast lock hooked into it. So that there is, I consider that a great find and a great print. And it works well. I have them on, I own probably 4 or 5 of these rods. I put it on all of them. They're all, well, 3 of them are 9-footers. One is a 10-footer. Actually, I had to resize for the 10-footer, but works well. Works very well. And there you go. You can't buy things like that. So I had to 3D print one, and make it work. So next we're going to look at, here are the reel holders I was talking about. Now, like I said, not my design. I did redesign it to make the holes bigger that you can see there, where I could get the screw head up in there. These just look kind of like twisting. You put it up, you twist it in, but they're not very good for the 8 and 10,000 series rods like the other one I did that is made for that. But these are very nice, and I've got a few up here right now, but working on getting more up there, and where I can reach up and take one down and just look at it. Some of them I don't fish, so you just like to look at things. You like to I like that old vintage reel. Where has it been? What has it done? So that's another thing I like about the 3D printing, and the way you can use it, and just great. I love it, guys. I do love it. Now here, what we're looking at is something is my design. I've seen, this is a sand spike rod holder. I've seen similar ones out there. You can buy them. They're very, very expensive. And all this thing does, that cup at the bottom there, the butt of your rod goes there and it just lays in there. So you're not actually pulling when you got to go get your rod. You're getting a fish on. You don't have to grab it, pull it out, clear everything. All you got to do is grab this baby and pick it up. And I worked on this thing for a while. Like I said, I did design this. I'll show you another picture of that if I can pull it up here. So these are two of them. These are prototypes side by side. Man, these things were great. Right now, being prototypes, I don't have them. They are actually a 2-part epoxy holding these 3D printed parts in. And eventually what's going to happen is that bottom part on your left there, it's going to be adjustable. So these are made for particular rods that I have, the length from the butt where the cup is, where the butt sets up. And these are made for particular rods. So eventually what they're going to do, you're going to be able to move that bottom cup up or down to fit whatever rod you have. And I worked on it for a while, and you got to take it out, and you got to put it through the test. You got to fish it and see what it's going to do. But guys, that's what I've got, and how 3D printing can help you out in your fishing. If you know somebody with a 3D printer, hell, get a 3D printer yourself. They're not that hard to operate. They're not. If I had to go out and buy one for my your first time buyer, I'm going to recommend Creality Ender 3 Pro. They're easy to put together. They're easy to start printing with. And man, make what you want. If you don't, you can get into the. I'm by no means a great designer, but I go into a place called Tinkercad, and just an awesome place that you can just mess around with and design and build whatever you want. So guys, that's what I've got for this video. I do thank you guys so much for joining me, and I hope you got something out of this. But you can these 3D printers, this new fad, this been around for a few years, but you can design and build, or just go onto the internet and grab things that people have designed and are nice enough to put out there for you and I to download and save you some money, and you really get that appreciation of, hey, I made this, I designed this. that's what it's all about. It makes you feel so much better. So guys, like I said, I thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you guys take care of yourself, and especially hope you guys take care of each other. Thanks so much, and I will definitely catch you next time.